Well, let's try. I'm testing how it would look like. So can you see it?
Yes, I see. Maybe
With my
we wait
face.
a few more minutes, Prof.
Okay,
When,
so
because
just
yes,
yeah,
some lecture
I'm
and
going
student
to
have not joined.
okay, I'm going to
Yes,
stop sharing for now. Just
yes.
want to make sure that it works.
Bisa kita mulai ya Bapak Ibu ya.
Oke.
Mungkin nanti sekalian nyusul untuk dosen yang lainnya sama mahasiswa. Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? Our lecture is about to begin. Please have a nice seat. Thank you very much for preparing to attend it, our visiting lecture. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning all.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Honorable our Dean of Faculty of Food Security, Universitas Negeri Surabaya, Professor Nining Widyah Kusnanik. Good morning, Prof.
Morning.
And then Honorable Prof Isnawati and Dr. Ahmad Ajib Ridwan as our Vice Dean Faculty of Food Security. Good morning.
Good morning.
Excellent, our coordinator of the agribusiness, digital, aquaculture, animal bioscience, and food technology undergraduate study program. And then excellent, our guest lecture from agribusiness management, National Pingtung University of Science and Technology, Professor Wen-Chi Hua. And then excellent, our lecture of Faculty of Food Security and maybe other beloved student. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the visiting lecture. I am Ratih Dewi Saputri, moderator of today visiting lecture. I am very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this event. In today visiting lecture, we will get closer like a look at climate change adaptation strategy on food security. Before the presentation begin, let me tell you how this visiting lecture will go. Firstly, I would like to give the time our Dean to give opening remarks, and then it will be followed by Vice Dean Professor Isnawati. After that, Professor Wen-Chi Hua will be invited to present the material of climate change adaptation strategy on food security for about 1 hour. After that, there will be a question and answer session followed by conclusion. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our Dean, Professor Widyah Kusnanik, to deliver opening remarks, and then it will be followed by Professor Isnawati. Please welcome Prof. Widyah Kusnanik.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning.
Okay. I would like to say thank you for all of you who comes and attending the visiting professor by virtual. At the moment, I would like to say thank you very much to Professor Wen-Chi Hua for giving opportunity to us to listen your wonderful material about climate change adaptation strategies on food security. Professor Wen just let to know that the Faculty of Food Security at State University of Surabaya is the newest faculty in my university. We have 5 study program at the moment, and we are still looking for a student and to recruit the student to come and become the student at the Faculty of Sports. I'm so sorry, at Food Security. We have some new lecturers here, and some of them is also graduated from Taiwan University. I'm not sure whether there is a lecture or not that graduated from National Pingtung University. I'm not sure, but some of them is graduated from Taiwan University. Okay, because time is so go on, I would like to declare that the visiting professor by Professor Wen-Chi Hua from National Pingtung University of Science and Technology Taiwan, I declare it's open. Thank you and have enjoy for the visiting professor today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to our Dean for the valuable remarks. And then next, Professor Isna is invited to provide some information regarding visiting lecture as a means stranger establishment of new faculty at UNESA. Please, Professor Isnawati.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Ratih. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Isnawati, serve as Vice Dean 1 of Faculty of Food Security Universitas Negeri Surabaya. The Honorable Professor Wen-Chi Hua, the Dean and Vice Dean 2 of Faculty of Food Security, the study program coordinators, and lecturers of Faculty of Food Security. As the new faculty, we have a lot of to learn and collaborate with many parties, I think, to improve quality and learning facilities in our faculty. Therefore, your presentation, Professor Wen, is very valuable to us, and the key points will be adopted and adapted in our faculty. Professor Wen and all of the participants, actually I am a farmer too. I grow rice, corn, and some kinds of leguminous plant, but I often experience crop failure during long dry season, especially. I think, Professor Wen, your topic is very helpful to us in determining the right strategies to anticipate crop failures due to climate change. Okay, my thanks to Professor Wen-Chi Hua. I think that is all I can say. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks to Isnawati. Moving along to our session, please welcome Professor Wen-Chi Hua. We will be speaking to us one climate change adaptation strategy on food security. Hello, Prof. Wen, are you ready to provide information and overview related topic you will present?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, it is honorable for us to have you here. Okay, Prof. Wen-Chi Hua, are you given about 60 minutes to deliver the lecture? Time is your please.
Okay. First of all, I would like to appreciate the opportunity to have a chance to talk to this newest faculty of the State University of Surabaya. I actually went to Surabaya last year. Actually, one stay there for a meeting, and then another time was, of course, for my arrival there, so that I can travel to other places. But anyway, because it's always be the arrival airport when I go to in the East Java area, so I felt quite well home to survive. Maybe this is another home away from home, because I cannot count how many times I visited the airport anymore. Anyway, so for today's talk, I'm not sure which screen fit me better. Maybe I can hide my face, right? Yeah, I think this one works. Okay. Actually, I was very surprised to know that you have a faculty designated for food security. I just finished my meeting at the Ministry of Culture yesterday for a project much it's related to the project we had last year, which is focusing on the strategy for food security. But we did not really put climate change adaptation as the main thrust for that discussion. It's really more from the aspect of national security, because you probably are aware that we have one unfriendly neighbor that is always threatening to change the status quo. So for us, the issue is become even more important at this stage. But anyway, I have been visiting many places around Asia and also in other countries that we have seen a lot of new scenario for approaching the issue of food security. And of course, climate change adaptation has always been one of the most focal point for many studies, and of course in some of the regions. So I would like to use this opportunity to share some of my observations about this topic area. Continue on the discussion we had it with the Ministry of Agriculture yesterday. They were saying that, well, nowadays you can cover everything, all the tasks the Ministry of Agriculture is doing really is about food security, because it's such a complex and wide coverage area. Okay, but when we talk about adaptation strategy, I think in today's talk in some of the area we were talking about from the national strategy. So the policy aspect will be one of the focal area of concerns. Okay, so let me see. Okay, well, where is M.Appl.Sc? So I follow the Google Earth to show that, okay, it's in the southern part of Taiwan. We have interesting campus because we have the largest campus at the singular location in Taiwan. So it's about 300 hectares. We have the name as the National Park University because of we have more animals than human on our campus. So anyway, and for agribusiness program, actually M.Appl.Sc celebrated its 100th anniversary last year. But in comparison, the agribusiness program is a little bit younger. It was established only in 1975. So it's a reflection of the fact that at the beginning, we are concerned more about animal health and productivity issues. So much of the program was focusing on agricultural technology. But we figure out that it's very important that the income generation for family farming units is not just about how productive they can be, but it's also how to materializing the success in the field. So that at the beginning of our program, actually, the 3-year of or we called it junior college level for agribusiness, we already cover home economics and agriculture economics as 2 fields. But only in 1991, we changed the name to agribusiness management because the university expanding during the time. We changed from junior college to be 4-year programs. So we have established the bachelor program. Okay. Then we realized that some people in their younger days, they could not finish their graduate level or undergraduate level study when they were young, but when they become successful agribusiness manager or when they become interested in getting higher education, they come back to our program. So we started with the bachelor level on the job program. We called it Twilight because it started their study at 6 p.m. Okay, and then gradually the undergraduate program cannot satisfy all the needs, so we started to as a master program, and we started with a regular program and then on the job. And we have a lot of alumni working in all areas all around in Taiwan, but in comparison, the East Coast part has a less higher education opportunity. So with the alumni's request, we started to offer off-campus graduate level master program for our on-the-job student alumni working in the field of agribusiness in the East Coast. And I think another breaking through part is that even though since 1997, globalization is one of the or international perspective has been one of those key area of the university. So 2009 led the benchmark. We started with Gambians lead program. They selected 7 bachelor program students who are interested in agribusiness to stay with us for 4 years. So that's the very first undergraduate English program we had that they are collaborating with the Department of Tropical Agriculture and the International Cooperation. And also that's the same year we started a double degree program with University of Brawijaya. So that marked my strong linkage with East Java at that point on. Okay. And then in 2017, we started the overseas Malaysian master program that we have to teach in Malaysia. But the students were overseas Taiwanese, meaning that they are either second or third generation Chinese resided in Malaysia. So the program is actually taught in Chinese. Okay. And then since 2015, we started the International Master Degree program that is all English program. And with trial for several years, then we collaborated, we moved the program into our regular agribusiness program to be part of our current program. So while you are looking for new students, we are also try to, there is opportunity for future collaborations. I think there are interesting aspects to be covered. Basically, we're cultivating future agribusiness practitioners. So in the current program, we have a so-called elite tech program that we receive students who had good performance in their technical performances while they're in their high school, vocational agriculture high schools. So we want to make sure that they can continue to excel their test performances into to take in the management component for their future career. So I think that's all for what our agribusiness program has been doing. Currently, I'm the distinguished professor with the Department of Agribusiness Management, M.Appl.Sc. I got my bachelor's from National Taiwan University and master and PhD from the Pennsylvania State University in the United States. My research area started with the resource environmental economics, but in recent 20 years, my focal point has been the smallholder issues in agriculture and rural development. I received my lifetime outstanding teaching award of M.Pl.Sc in 2021, and then for my services, I'm currently the president of a Rural Economic Society of Taiwan, which is an organization, academic organization formed by the who graduated from agriculture economics, basically. So in our former presidents, when the unit was established around 70 years ago, we are the think tank for the Ministry of Agriculture, basically. So many of actually we produce several former minister for agriculture. So, but of course nowadays they want the think tank to be separated from the government's own public services. So currently you cannot serve the president while being the minister. So they need to be separated. And I'm currently the vice chair and the council of the leader for NGO, International NGO Group. It's called a very long name. So by abbreviation, it's ASIAJA. Basically, it's a rural human resource development organization that is an umbrella organization formed by 10 countries. So most of the country are in Southeast Asian country, but they are in the East Asia, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. Is called, we have got the nickname of chopstick draws because we all use chopsticks. Anyway, so that actually gave me a channel to know more about the happenings in at the ground level, because ASIAJA have been receiving a lot of projects to help the NGO groups working in the rural area in the target countries, but mostly in Southeast Asia country. So those members from like Taiwan, Korea, and Japan are serving more as a consultant and service provider. Okay, so if we have chance, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay, in terms of the graduate students supervised, up to now, have more than 146 students graduated under my supervision. The current figure indicated that I had more foreign graduate than Taiwanese. So actually my supervised foreign student came from 28 countries. But in most recent statistic indicated that the biggest group become Indonesia. So this is a configuration. The biggest bar is actually Indonesia, and they have more female graduate than the male graduate. So it's a pretty interesting phenomenon. Okay, so yeah, so that's just. So some people ask me, what is my current research? As it really depends on what the students are interested in recent years as we mature our own initial interest become less important. The student is really, as a teaching university, of course, the students' needs and their future career development, as well as our service to the public sector in the area become very important. So in a way, we have to keep a close eye on what's happening around us, okay, or in the region or at the global level. So that's why I took the challenge of give a talk on this topic. So the main contents of today's talk, actually, I listed out. It's not in its order. I think it's maybe in a way about the relative importance of in the depth of the coverage. So we'll talk a little bit about element of food security, and of course you are from the Faculty of Food Security. You probably know a lot more than us. It's really in a way of looking at what my focal point would look like. We'll talk a little bit about the facilitated agriculture, okay, as one of the ways to combating the extreme weather situation that we are facing. So maybe I can share some of those examples. The facilitated agriculture has a simple facilitation up to a very strong structure infrastructure requirement or constructional requirement. And if you started to include some labor saving facility, then and so we started to provide some smart devices for data collection purposes, and then it has potential of using the IoT to enhance the managerial practices that can be implemented. For that part, I have given several talks before, so I'm kind of reluctant to talk too much about it, because one of the challenging issue I receive after the talk is really is too expensive to be implemented by many places. But anyway, we'll also talk a little bit about agriculture technology and supply chain management. It's a feedback to the issue about the element of food security. So we'll talk a little bit more about it. And I was in Korea in February, so we explored the issue of smart agriculture and digital agriculture. But actually, for Taiwan, we deliver it in a different way. We said smart agriculture and digital services, because that digital services is about informatics, and we don't believe that for the practicing farmers is able to have the able, meaning time-wise and knowledge-wise, to handle the digital informatic to be realized in their management practices. So we want to serve kind of devise a mechanism to well, in a way, for professional development, we believe that the digital service can be provided by the digital service provider rather than farmers have to engage in the development. They should be the user rather than who are engaging it. But of course, from the career development, from the college level education, then we say maybe both of our students should know both. Okay. And the last element is about food and agriculture. Also, this is when I talk about the food security component, we will talk a little bit more about it. The reason why this become important, of course, I think many people nowadays saying that one of the result of the urban and rural divide is actually that consumers in the urban area they lack knowledge about agriculture and the food, and so they don't care too much about how difficult the production process, and how they lack the appreciation of the hardship of production services itself, and also it developed into an issue of lack of understanding of how to have a healthy dietary concept built it in. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too. So when we talk about the pillars of food security, at the beginning, well, maybe in the very early 1990s, the FAO statement is about to ensure people to have access to sufficient food to lead active and healthy lives. But actually, the how to lead to active and healthy life wasn't in the statement, but not so much in practice, because as FAO's main task is to make sure that there are sufficient productive base as their major linking point is with the Ministry of Agriculture in all countries. And when we look at the indicator at the beginning level, when they come up with a food security indicator, it actually looking at more when we say access to sufficient food, the definition or the manageable indicator is only looking at how productive a country is. Okay, they will look at how is the national income level of the country. When you look at it, even from the per capita issue, so we can only look at the as a country on average how they are doing. Okay, so from that indicator, they did not talk about internally how a country, even with high income, how to make sure that the delivery of food can be carried out at the household level or even in the personal level. So that issue is really because there is income diversity among the household, and in some extreme cases, it's a huge gap between the very wealthy group of people and the poorest among the poor. So how to make sure that it's comprehensively covered, then it means that we need to have a more understanding about such indicator. So I think that's one of the reasons why in 2009, well, maybe earlier, but this is the in the document I found. So it changed to all people. So it's not the people on average in the national level, it's all people and all times. Okay, all times means that they are they should choose. They should have a freedom to choose at what time they would like to have the food, rather than as a designated time, like some of the meal delivery service only deliver one meal per day, or they have a special like welfare program saying that they have per week they have some kind of food preparations. So it's not sufficient from that aspect. So not only physical access, but the social and economic access to for the sufficient safe and nutritious food. So then it means that the why nutritious food become important, and then it lead to the issue of food education. Okay, so it's not just food for people laying there. So how to lead to an active and a healthy life become added component. I have a listed item in there that we used to say like 4 pillar of food security. Okay, but beginning it's about accessibility, affordability, availability. Okay, and then we started at quality and safety. So because when you lead the active and healthy life, it's the quality of food, the safety of food become very important. So even for instance, when the Global Food Security Index was compiled by the Economist Intelligence Unit in 2012, they have an indicator based on the first three: affordability, availability, quality, and safety. But so that carried through for many years, and then in 2022 they started to include the issue of sustainability and adaptability. So I think that actually lead to our discussion for today. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that they have that component built it in. And I think in recent years, the last component become even more important. Okay, so if you are interested about that report, I have a link that was included in my presentation. Okay, so I think for the element, affordability, availability, quality, and safety, it's not separable issues. So when I carry out the presentation, I probably will still include those elements. Okay, and so with the basic pillars, we still have to look at the dimension of food security. As I mentioned that for the Economist Intelligence Unit, EIU, when they compiled the first Global Food Security Index in 2012, they only covered the first three. And even in their report, they stated that even though they compile for each country, but for inside of the country, it's difficult for them to making good recommendations. So they were only looking at from the regional perspective or global perspective. But in their most recent report that I accessed in 2022, actually they with the more updated information, it gave us some insight on how to work on that aspect. But let me come back to this perspective. So when FAO or the EIU compiled the Global Food Security Index, is looking at the global or at most regional or national aspect. But distributional issue come back to the household level or even individual level. Because in the past studies, we have found out that in particular, in recent years, my students also are interested in the household level of food security. Because there is an issue when you have insufficient supply of food inside of the household. How do you distribute? Okay, so in the past studies, it's apparent that the priorities goes to powerful people in the household, okay? The head of the household or the person who are in charge of income generating activity in a paternal society, it's more likely that it's a male member who are in their active age for providing labor. So they will get the priority of getting the food. So the next group will from the social structure out of the respect to the elder. So the elder will normally get the next layers of food supply. So people who work in the kitchen or the very young children sometimes are the forgotten one. So so in time of famine, they will reduce the frequency of food supply by requesting that yeah, the kids should go to bed early, so then they can skip the nighttime meals. So that create the inequality issues in the household in terms of food distribution. And we can also see that some of the example being raised also that I think nowadays it's very common for the school age kids to be covered by the food programs during their school days. Okay, and some people were actually well, some of the school in the rural area will encourage the kids to take leftover food so that they can also be fed when they are at home. Okay. If they did not realize that it's very important for increase the household level food security through this practice, we have a problem when they are no longer in school. For instance, in the semester breaks and it was very apparent during the pandemic time when the education being delivered in the distance. Okay, then the food they can regularly provide at home is no longer available. So we even have seen some community realize the issue and they started to provide food for those kind of a scenario when the school is not in session. And so that would be one of those safety net maybe the public sector have to take initiatives. Okay. So from the national perspective, of course, it become a social stability issue. So it's really very important to have practical procedure or standardized procedures to handle the issue. And at the national levels, food security is also national security issues. Sometimes it's not the issue of whether it's available or not. It's really about the information about whether such food is available. So, so we have National Food Reserve Program serve for that purposes. A few years back, I think it was in 2011 that in APEC, they were talking about regional food reserves so that the country can help each other. Because if you have a food reserve and the whole area being flooded, then it's equivalent to no food. So if you have an offsite at the even different country, then well, but it was too optimistic because food need to be delivered. It says it's highly perishable items, and so how to make sure that the food reserve you have is safe or healthy to take in as a necessity is very challenging and very critical issues. I think in the early time when we look at the national food securities, we we see that in Taiwan's case, we have the rice procurement program by the government, so they are putting those rice on reserve. So when the question of whether we have a sufficient food, or in the case of major disaster, one of the indicator, one of the approach the government took to show that yes, we have sufficient food, is to invite the media and open the storage area and show we have stockpiled rice, so that in a way the food security are guaranteed. But nowadays the issue is that we have dietary change, and I think the average account from Indonesia is like more than 100 kilo per year per person. But for Taiwan's case, the number has steadily declining, and in recent year it becomes stabilized. But it's only 45 kilo per year per person. So it means that when you have a food reserve is only looking at rice, and you have a problem, because it's no longer even though we still call it the staple food, but actually people are not taking in. So we started to say, okay, then we should have other mechanism. Okay, and it was very apparent during the pandemic. It's not just about food; it's also other items. So instead of showing just the storage area of rice, the government was forced to requesting the major mega markets such as Carrefour to show their storage area. That they have to guarantee by saying that they have 3 months long of supply for all the canned food and instant noodles and all other processed food items that can be supplied to the market. So it means that the dietary change has made people rethink about what do you mean by food reserve? Okay, so in terms of the for time durations, we have an issue of temporary, like disaster relief, and we have seen very exciting, or it has been carried out for a long time, like in Japan, is really using the community as in the shelter area, there is always food that can be used. And in recent year, even more interesting is that they are encouraging food company to make those very popular item can be the disaster, food supply, as rather than you have to one option, which is the like instant noodle. No, it's no longer like that. They have snacks, they have regular food. They can be stored in room temperature. It doesn't require very difficult storage condition, and it can be kept for like 2 months, and so you can always have access to the food. So it means that it become a strategy to encouraging people. Well, food security is a household issue, then the household also need to take part that in, and they even wanting to encourage in such food storage, or food reserve build up at the household level. They come up with recipe or recommendation for 2 weeks with no repeated food preparation. I think it's a very good instruction material for to be shared to others in terms of how to prepare for such kind of thing. But of course, if you have productive site that are being disrupted and very difficult to recover at the fast pace, and the temporary full aid become important. But if you have a persistent issue, then we need to look at whether the productive base is still no suitable one, and so more intervention probably is needed. I think maybe in your program you will cover these kind of elements. So this lays the background into my other next section. Well, this was just out of my curiosity. So I look at Indonesia's from the Global Food Security Indicator Assessment, how they praise Indonesia. So in terms of the overall score is probably in the middle, and in terms of availability is a little bit better, but for the availability indicator, the ranking is relatively well, because it's the ranking. They only count for 113 countries. I want to make a comparison with Taiwan, but unfortunately, Taiwan was not covered in their 113 countries accounts. So in terms of quarantine, the safety is ranked about 70 something, and about sustainability and adaptation is really more than 80 out of the 113 countries. So I can share this PowerPoint later. So maybe if you want to, well, or you can actually Google to find out the EIU's report. But because today's topic is more on adaptation issues, so I look at how they compile the adaptations in the Indonesia's indicator. So in here, it cover several issues like water, the international market access, land issues, but about the adaptation, there are two components. One is a political commitment to adaptation and disaster risk management. So I expanded those two elements. So in here, it means that for political commitment for adaptation, it has climate finance, growth, and the environmental economic accounting implementation. You are doing better on that score. And in terms of early warning, climate smart agriculture, it probably needed more effort on that. So commitment to managing exposure is on a lower side of the score. And for national agriculture adaptation policy is quite diverse in terms of their assessments. And then for sustainable agriculture, the score is out of 100, it's between 50 to 65. And from the disaster risk management, you are doing best in the pest infrastructure and disease mitigation. But for the risk management coordination, needed more effort. I think this, maybe you can comment on this, but unfortunately I cannot answer to that. But I think this is a good way of looking at the probably what are the elements that still needed more effort. So I was using this as a way to looking at what should be covered in the talk today. But in not conclusion, but the element being discussed about the how to enhance the performance of food security at the national or regional level. The past experience also indicated that the infrastructure is very important. It's infrastructure in many ways, transportation, storage, and even the infrastructure for encouraging technical development. Okay, and safety net to secure the food supply or to supporting family or individual in the difficult situation. Sometimes it's not the government's effort is not sufficient. So that's why nowadays we are requesting the company to give back, and so we have corporate social responsibility and setting up stages for them to engage in providing some kind of social support to the community that they are committed to support. So the industrial support from the private sector is not just about the CSR program, it's also about how to make sure that the academic units are taking their foot in the practical field, and to understand the research or support service the private sector can provide. So I think many universities have the USR program that collaborate with the private sector so that they can give back or supporting the community that are interested in provide the service to them. And the last element, of course, is food reserve. As I mentioned, that the food reserve from the marginalized aspect should not only including the stable food, because the concept of stable food change over time, and requesting for more diverse food consumption choices, or well, for leisure food, and as a potential way of nutrient supplement also are potential possibilities. So the next ones I want to share is like example, we mentioned about the facilitated agriculture. Actually, this covered two parts. One is actually about food safety. So the picture on the left hand is it's I said Northern Vietnam is it's a service actually provided by Asia Gerard as part of the EU project, I think. So it's about traceability systems. So they help one of the vegetable agriculture cooperative that working on vegetable growth to well, the cabbage is actually is targeted to send to the massive market in Hanoi. Okay. And we have another example, like in the mountainous area, actually, because it's much cooler in its climate. So the picture show they have cut flowers and facilitated orchid growing area. So that one, you said these are not food, but actually it generated very important income sources for the people engaged in the program. So this one is took in February in Korea. Well, because the visits show us how to grow strawberry in snow-covered area. So in this particular area, they don't have a productive area to cultivate rice or other grains because they have snow coverage for 5 to 6 months, and it's in the mountainous places. So they need to generate income. And also in this particular case, it's in a way, it's completely temperature controlled facility. It's basically heated, okay. But it's serving as a multiple layer. The upper layer is strawberry. It's easy for picking, but actually the lower layer, they grow other vegetables. So it become pretty exciting approaches to secure income. So the farmer who run the facility is a young lady in her 20s. Okay, she got the Korean government support in terms of the facilities installation, and the strawberry grown aside from their supply to the market, one of those activities provide customer to pick their own. So well, actually, we are more interested in picking the strawberry than understanding the facility. But it's not a new idea, but it's interesting to see how it can be implemented. But you can see that there is a huge difference in the facility needed to support or establishing the system. By the way, this whole facility is run by just one person. Okay, so they have smart irrigation and light control units, heater, and you can see fans. Okay, so that's one of those things that we talk about. It's not just so it's climate controlled through digital devices and remote sensing. So they have sensor and light detectors and temperature detectors. So the system can be run remotely and pretty much mechanically. And this one is another one. It was my visit to Laos, capital city. So the upper left corner is actually organic farmers market in park, actually near to the location where embassies are concentrated. So it actually run like 3 days a week, including weekdays and weekend. Actually, the initial installation of the facility was supported by Japanese International Corporation JICA project, but now it's run by their own organic farmers organization. Aside from the fresh item, they have processed item, they have organic certification for the, of course, you can see that the reason why it has English there is because it's really the foreign community is concentrated to support such market to expanding and continue to be operational. And this is a European-based organization called AgriCode. So they have a lot of projects around the in particular in Africa. So for Asia and the Americas, they used to have the former colonies that are still receiving a lot of support from the European-based and NGO group. At the beginning, they run all different kind of aid program under different names, but now they connected together and using a common slogan. It's called Farmers Fighting Poverty. Okay, in a way, it's really more on the food security program to be delivered. Okay. They had the project in Indonesia, so it was a few years ago, but now they have like different project carried out. So if you are interested, you can go search the AgriCode to understand what kind of project they have. And sorry, this one is I intentionally missed. Okay, the following slides are the policy proposed by Taiwan's Ministry of Agriculture, because it's actually focusing on agricultural resilience. Because in the case of a disaster, as I mentioned, that one of the very important issue is Okay, how to recover from disaster and being able to start the productive process. So I'm just going to read it. The core of resilient culture is to accelerate construction of basic environmental network, promoting climate change adaptation and strengthen agricultural resilience and to ensure food security. So it's basically covering almost like the same topic given by the title of my talk. So in terms of and to stress that the climate change is an irreversible trend, and in the face of agricultural business risk must guide the movement to super plantation areas through intelligent adaptation action to make a culture more resilient. Okay. I have like 5 more minutes. Okay. So in terms of the policy statement tool, so that's the policy statement. We will further search culture big data database to improve the basic survey culture condition and the apply it to the promotion of a production plan and to maintain the stability of the supply and demand in agricultural production and marketing. So it means that it need to be deliverable to the market. So in order to speed up the efficiency of culture, to recover from the natural disaster, so the Ministry of Culture introduced innovative AI technology and disaster detection apps to improve disaster monitoring and early warning and assist in strengthening disaster reduction measure and restore the farming and reconstructions. So so in here, actually, it covers resilient food security and resilient disaster prevention and resilient infrastructure. So it's really, I think, strongly linked to the issue of adaptation. So in terms of resilience of food security, it says promote all-round agricultural climate adjustment and to adjustment of suitable planting areas to through the analysis of agricultural production and marketing big data, inventory and planning for production and supply to ensure security and food security in the independence. So the last component is because we only had like 30% of food self-sufficiency. So we are very worried about someone cut our ties in the international global supply chain. So resilient disaster prevention is to introduce innovative AI technology to improve the disaster monitoring and early warning system. So the resilient infrastructure is about improving the basic agricultural waterways, saltwater storage, irrigation, cold chain, rolling storage facility, weather-resistant greenhouse. So these elements are also being experienced in other countries. Now I have 2 more minutes to go, but I think it's sufficient. So for instance, unfortunately, because it's used for internal purposes, so it's not been translated. But basically, this is a map of Taiwan, and so for this is the data from last year. It's October 22 that I access the data. So it has the warning for like high temperature, low temperature, strong wind, and rainfall. So it has been color coded. So the target date I'm targeting for is October 25th. So it's a township level warning system for extreme weather event for major product. So on the right-hand side, actually, it has a showing on each of the places what are the product item in the area. So this is one of the results from the policy statement because it's being placed in the national statistics. So and other things like for recovering from disaster or natural disaster and other climate event, we have Agriculture Insurance Act. It was only enacted in 2022, but now it has many items being covered. Okay, so before that, we have the rule for natural disaster relief agriculture, which is a mandate for basic agricultural law, which is called Agriculture Development Act. So in the beginning, it's only providing low interest rate and financial support, but with the insurance, it can be more comprehensive in terms of its support to stabilize the income of farmers. So I think I'm just going to jump it. And this one is another example of the crop disaster pre-warning system. So it covered the focusing and crop information, proper crop calendar. And so we are in the southern part. So in this particular scenario, we have the strong wind warning. Okay. And so this one is a cropping calendar. They updated on, they notify the potential problem with each of the crops. Like this one is for Tainan area, it's for oranges. So the top one is actually the production cycle, and what are the major activity for such crop, and what they should be doing in each of the season. And the last one is actually the common disaster. So from March to May, the major problem would be drought, and then from July to September, it's strong wind, typhoon, high temperature, and things like that. So it provides information to farmers to have some preparation for the major events. So that's based on from the weather information, the big data informatics. Okay, I think that ends my talk. It 2 minutes over time, but I think it's yeah, that's about it. I'm going to close it.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Comprehensive presentation. We will have a vibrant discussion about about climate change adaptation. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come a question and answer session.
Yeah, I think I saw some of
I will to have 3 questions from participant. Please, maybe or chat book or raise hand. In chat book. Okay. Mr. Amir, please, your question.
Thank you. Hello, Dr. Wen.
Yeah.
Introduce myself. My name Amir Solihin. Amir from the Digital Agribusiness Study Program. And I'm very interested in smart agriculture and digital services in your university. But I would like to ask how to stabilize price in Taiwan when the harvest season arrives or climate disaster occurs. Does a government have a storage warehouse for some commodities, or they all handled by private sector? It's my question. Thank you.
Okay, in terms of, as I mentioned that at the beginning, the issue is really about establishing the trust of the people. And so like many countries, they look at the stable food. Okay, so they have, so the strongest program is for rice. Okay, so it's very interesting is that well, officially we said we have 2 seasons of rice, but from north to south, it's 450 kilometer long, the island's size. But even for the first crop, we said, okay, first crop means that they start harvesting in May, okay? But the thing is that we started planting in January for farmers in the south, okay? But I remember I studied in NTU, and we have one of the farm management practice program is for us to experiencing hand planting. I remember it was very cold in April, and we planted our first rice, while the other field already been cultivated using machines. Okay, but anyway, that impressed us because when in the south they started harvesting in May. In Taipei, they have to harvest it in July because they started planting much later. So it means that even when we say 2 crops, it's very diverse. I visited in Central Java, the rice production area. I was very surprised because I saw in that village that you can see rice at all stages.
Yeah.
Meaning that one plot is done planting, the other one is already harvesting. I joined the harvesting festival, but found out that, oh, their still field just got planted. But in Taiwan's case, it's very different because we use irrigated water, and so Irrigation Association actually mandated the water supply scheme. And more importantly is that the rice is 96% mechanized. It means that we jokingly said for rice farmer, they only need to make 3 phone calls. The first phone call is when they want to do the seedling preparation. So they make phone call to seedling center. So then they will prepare the seedling, and when the seedling is available, then the mechanical group that do the transplanting will start the transplanting activity service to them. So the second one is that when they need to do some kind of pest control, when they supervise on the field, and then so that's the second phone call. And the third phone call is actually when the rice is ready for harvesting. But now the issue is that, as mentioned, that for Taiwan's case, it from the north, from the south to the north, actually it's gradually moving up in terms of the different productive process. So it means that the service group is not just serving in one location. The people who operate transplanting machines, they will move out of the area when there's no longer service needed. And they are migrated to the north. It means that if you have a different cropping season compared to your neighbor, then you are in trouble because you can either hand harvest them or which is infeasible. Okay, but aside from rice, we actually in Taiwan's case, yeah, we have a so-called one town, one product scheme that has been carried out following the Japanese example. But the reason why we have a one town, one crop kind of a scheme is that it's really intended for food processing, right? So you have collected the prices, the item from each area, and for smallholder, that's one of the way to have a sufficient quantity to be produced so that you can then screening, you can grading, you can separate, you can market it on different channels. But when you look at the local level, we said this price is for longan. Farmers will say, but I'm not growing longan, I'm producing other thing. Okay, so then you have a problem. So the problem is then you have a major crop, but fortunately farmers are having other crops, so you become more resilient as a region, right? So you fail in one crop, no problem, you still have others. But then from the industry perspective, of course, they hated that idea because they felt that it's not good for developing the industry. Yeah, but then you have we have a good example is like for onion is grown in the southern part of Taiwan, and the reason why it's populated in there is because they want it to be the major exporting item. Okay, but how the product perform depend on how the destination market performed. We are like competing with Hokkaido in Japan. So if the Hokkaido's onion did not so good, then our onion in Japan market will perform good. Yeah. So, but it's concentrated in like from March to April for harvesting. Okay. And sometimes we jokingly said that the southern peninsula is onion peninsula because there are several towns. The townships are all focusing on onion. So what happened is that nowadays what they did is that the private business plus the Farmers Association, they have huge onion storage area. So nowadays you don't see that they are putting the onion to market very quickly because they regulated the amount of onion to be released in the market. But it's onion, so it can be stored for a long time, okay? So we still have some of the items that facing these kind of challenges, like cabbages. Okay, it's very popularly grown in the winter, so the price level is less. In the summers, it's not very popularly grown because a lot of pest problem, and we only like those coming from the mountains because it tastes better. Okay, so you have this seasonal fluctuation. Then some people started to have processing recommendation or encourage people to eat for the season. I think we still have a problem on that. So that's why in the policy statement, they said, okay, we need to use AI and other ways to focusing the productive level. I think we are still working on that. Okay. Thank you for your question, and I hope that answer.
Thank you, Mr. Amir. Professor Wen, we have any question from chat book? From Rosa Junior T. Okay, first question, how can Taiwan adaptation to address its growing reliance on food imports, which pose risk to food security, especially during global supply disruption? And second, I'm also curious how Taiwan government support the farmer regarding highly dynamic with the change in Taiwan, especially how your government built the communication system that is available for farmer to obtain with the information.
Okay, actually, can you repeat the first question?
How can Taiwan adaptation to address its growing reliance on food imports?
I mentioned about the food self-sufficiency rate being only 30%. But when you ask the general public, they don't feel we have a problem with food supply. Because what happened is that that configuration actually came because we import a lot of animal feed. So basically, even for dairy, okay, we import a lot of the fodder, okay. We had one time a visitor from Central American country and said, "Oh, we actually produce these animal feed can be very inexpensively." Okay, why are you importing this thing from US, which is at a higher price? And the reply from the dairy farmer was that because they have clear information on the nutrient component, and the supply is very reliable. Okay, and so they can come up with their formulation because they already know the nutrient content, and so they can adjust the formula accordingly. Okay, but other sources of such animal feed might not meet their need because it's cheap, but they don't provide sufficient other information. Okay, so they're actually the information and the stability of a party become very important. One time I asked them, you have a lot of set-aside farm then that are not planting. Why don't you just collaborate with them and ask them to grow the item you want, and then we reduce a lot of carbon footprint. And you know, who knows when you make such a distance transportation from US, what happens if your shipment cannot come in time, right? At beginning, they're reluctant to that idea. They said your agricultural field is polluted so much for so many years with agricultural chemicals. They said we cannot afford to risk the health of the dairy cattle because if they get poison, we don't have food. I mean, income sources. So, but after so many years, when we have a more and more set aside area, that the reformer actually changed his mind. He now grows uses silage grown locally, but they are using contract production with farmers, and so they follow the instruction, and they have silos and silage production site that the farmer don't need to do it themselves. They have a service provider. So it means that how to developing a supporting industry become very important. But you have to have a concentrated area for this particular case of their transportation. Time is very short, and they have a good communication with farmer who needed that service. So it's not farmers growing the feed themselves. Actually, our dairy farmer friend told me the thing that he hated most is to cut those animal feed because as they were young, that was his task. But when he become a professional dairy farmer, I mean, when the family grow like 5 cattle, he need to do that. Okay, now he has 250 cattle. He doesn't need to do it anymore because they can use commercially produced one. When we say commercially produced, it's a collaborated service provider that can provide such product to them. So rice is another example. I mentioned about onion. For harvesting onion, used to be the case that because they are concentrated in the production area and time. So one of the service they got is they still need to do manually. Okay, so but because of lack of manpower, they will request the government support. The government will send off militaries as one of their practices. They go to the onion field to help harvesting. But now they don't need it because our areas, agriculture extension station actually develop machines to harvesting onion by, they just need to loosen the field, so the harvester can harvest it very quickly. So it's really developed because need, because there is no more young people in the rural area that are doing this. They said it's very boring, repeated work. Now they develop machine to replace such work, and then they become attractive for people who want to just be the manager, not the producer. I think that's one of those things. So even from the aspect of self-sufficiency, we said, okay, but when you still want to keep a very economically attractive poultry sector, you still need to import a lot. Okay. One example is like aquaculture is very important for Taiwan. So fishery and culture count like 50% in terms of the production levels. But we import fish feed. Okay. We export because the self-sufficiency rate for fishery is 150%. Means that at least you export 50%, right? But you still import animal feed. So we, I mean, fish feed. So I'm not quite sure. They did not provide like one industry account on that. But we say, okay, maybe those kind of feed import is a must. So in order to avoid problem with Ministry of Agriculture, they said, okay, if you do this, the policy performance indicator is always bad. So we're thinking that we should separate the feed import account from the food self-sufficiency so that it's better reflecting of what is really consumed directly as food. Another example, of course, is like we import a lot of sorghum because sorghum liquor is very famous, produced in Taiwan and in Kinmen Island. But the amount we grow on the field is not, it's only account for like 10% of the materials. But when they can produce liquor and earn a lot of money, it's not interesting for them to say, we are devoting all the field to the sorghum production and we only use domestic grown sorghum for processing. So it's not feasible. I think this is, I think in terms of when we're working on data for policy decisions, still need to make sure that it's relevant information for making that decision. So for time, so it's what the data says and what the people feel. Okay, so when people say, "Oh no, most of the poultry product we consume are domestically, all the fresh milk we consume, the liquid fresh milk is 100 domestic produced. But when you count like imported one, like actually 92% the milk powder are imported. So, yeah, for people when they go to the shelf, they say, okay, it's 100% Taiwan production, but it's not enough for your consumption, so you still import. But it's impossible to keep such a huge dairy population. So it's really change your dietary habit that also. So some people are encouraging people to like, don't take dairy milk. It was not our traditional meal, but it's a modernized Western meal. Okay, and so why don't we just consume soy milk? But bad story. I mean, the bad news is that for soybean, we use for soybean soybean curds, soy milk, but 96% of the soybeans are imported. So that's another issue, right? You said this is a traditional food, but actually it's cheaper to import than produce it your own. So I think this is in terms of food security. So that's why we said, okay, self-sufficiency rate is not a good indicator. We still need to look at other things. By the way, the global food security indicator for many years, Singapore ranked #1 in terms of food security indicator, but they only produce like 10% of the vegetables, and they are targeting a higher percentage of self-sufficiency for eggs. Okay, they said, okay, it's unrealistic to increase like grain production in any ways. I accessed one of the research results from Singapore National University. Is that they said they develop a new cultivar of rice that have a good performance and taste and all that. but they are produced in Indonesia. So the collaborative with Indonesia university, and the
university.
productive base is in Indonesia. But they secure the property right of the cultivar, so they entrusted the production to Indonesia. So if they insist that they only consume and produce on their own, it's not possible for that city-state to survive, right? So I think it's really why they still ranking such highly in there is that they secure diverse sources from other places to make sure that the accessibility and availability issue is not hindering. I think this is one of the thing we were talking about. Having other places, or if possible, yes, produce locally, but probably you have to take in the very high financial burdens of carrying everything in there. But I think we are at that stage that people don't care. They said, okay, I only spend like 10 to 15% of my income for food. So even your rice price become double, it's still very small percentage of the food intake and income. So I think it's really, no, we are not moving completely to the Singapore perspective. We still believe that we can still produce some of those items, and maintaining good ecological balances and being able to produce on your own field is still very important, because we said, at least from the mutual agriculture perspective, we said, okay, it's one of the responsibilities is managing the ecosystem, and who is managing it? You cannot rely to the nature to managing it, so you still need to have human intervention. So farmers are very important because they are the one who take care of the environment, and we want to make sure that there are still someone taking care of it. I think that's why when we look at the resilience issue, we say, oh, we can import everything very cheaply from all over the world, but we need to take care of the people, okay, who are taking care of our environment for our future. So, and it's part of the human nature interaction, and that should be remembered. So even when we set the new direction of development, one ton, one product, we started to question this approach. We said a very good example is we have a very unfamous food company that they only do B2B. So the public doesn't know them. But actually, they have a very good intelligence unit or informatics, and they are using mobile devices, meaning that the food processing plant is on a vehicle. Okay, so whenever there's a new harvest, they will drive their mobile food factory to finish the product collection, to finish and until it becomes the frozen food juice. So they are the juice material provider to food company. But the thing is that because it's so flexible, when your factory is not in one location, you can do a lot of new things. So I think that gives us an idea of, small can be very beautiful, depending how you design your device. And so I think even for other temporary area, they're using the container to grow. In our university, also we have the unit working on the container truck. Okay, the wasted container, they use it as a temperature control productive unit for mushrooms. Okay, because mushroom doesn't need light. Okay, and they place the solar panel on the outside of the container truck, and then you can do your environmental control productions in the different places. So they use that as a way of increasing farmers' income because farmland has support by reduced rate for electricity and water use. And so instead of stack the production site at the one location, they actually provide such container to different farmer, and the collector can easily collect after several days. So there is an established supply chain for this particular practice, and I think we are looking forward to other more new ideas for innovative practice on how to use a small piece of land to do maybe this kind of facilitated production, not just to constructing it. By the way, I forgot to mention that
Prof. Wen, so sorry.
Yes.
Yes, limited because due to limited time, we need
Okay, yes.
to end up our discussion session. Sorry.
Uh-huh,
Maybe
that's nice.
unanswered question. Maybe we can discuss them another day.
Okay,
So sorry,
yes.
Prof. Wen.
So
Maybe
so we can finish the because I saw some of those things.
yeah, I believe
Okay.
that we still have enormous question and or a topic discussed
Okay.
from Prof. Wen.
Mhm.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to end part this visiting lecture. Maybe before close this event, let's take a picture. Please turn on your camera. Mr. Amir will help me documentation and
Okay.
take it picture.
Okay. 1, 2. Okay. Thank you.
Enough?
Thank you. Enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, before we close this event, sorry, finally, I would like to thanks speaker for information and interesting presentation, and all the participant for their active participation. Hopeful this visiting lecture will be beneficial and for everybody. And please give applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
See you
you.
on. Thank you, Prof. Wen. And
Thank you,
all
Prof.
the-
Wen.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank
Okay.
you for
Hope
giving
that
me
you
the
can
opportunity.
come again to Surabaya.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I hope that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thank
you
you
very
for the
much for
invitation,
wonderful time.
and
Yeah, okay.
I will talk to you sometime,
Okay.
other time. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
But
Thank
maybe we can
you.
collaborate in research or something, Mr. Wen.
Yeah, yes.
Dr. Wen,
I will be looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Us too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mbak Bacek. Mbak Bacek, apa kabar? Masih di mute.